Let me ask you a question. Have you done your Zwift SWOT analysis yet? Well, I have. It doesn't make for pretty reading. Yeah. So when it comes to racing on Zwift, I literally have one card to play, and a couple of factors have to come together to make sure that I can, well, basically everybody has to wait for me so I can play that card. Otherwise, I have to fold every time. So I guess you could say that I know a fair amount about sprinting, especially when it comes to Zwift. So in this video, I'm going to bring you my top 6 tips inspired by a message that I got a few weeks ago on how you can improve your sprint on Zwift. Aero. It's basically steroids for Zwifters. If steroids were legal, it'd be steroids for Zwifters. The Aero power-up is by far the quickest and easiest way for you to be able to improve your sprint. On the 300-meter Italian village sprint at 800 watts, the Aero power-up is over a second faster than not using a power-up at all. A second in only 300 meters. One in the middle obviously is the Aero, and that's going to finish first. 20.13, left hand side 21.06 for that feather, 21.27 for draft or having absolutely nothing. So almost 1.2 seconds for that Aero over that draft or having nothing. So in a sprint that's huge. Climbing up a hill, not so much, but in a sprint when it comes down to the finish and we see more and more races covered by less than half a second, an Aero could be the difference between winning and losing. Now for more details on that comprehensive power-up test, simply click up here. And if you need any more convincing of just how powerful an Aero power-up is, check out this recent footage from the KSL. It's Aero City. Timing. Now timing is something that requires no additional physiological effort. It's simply knowing the game, knowing the route, knowing the course, knowing your opponents, and knowing when it's time to go full gas. One thing I have noticed about Zwift is because it's an online platform, you can often have a little bit of lag, up to half a second sometimes. So what that means is that it's you. The onus is on you to make that sprint. Do not wait for other people, because what you might find is someone might start their sprint, but because of the lag, they actually started it half a second ago, and by the time you realize it, they've gone. So always, and I repeat, always be proactive in a sprint, not reactive. And definitely don't do what I did here. Left it too late. Left it far too late. Left it too late. Make your move, make it count, and go full gas. Okay, so we've looked at ways in the game to improve that sprint, but what can we do physiologically to make that sprint better? For me personally, one of my biggest advantages is my leg speed. The majority of my sprints all peak out at around 120 to 140 RPM. So if you can't physically get your legs over 100 RPM and keep it efficient, you're gonna really struggle in those sprints. So one drill that I would suggest is if you have a pair of rollers, or just simply do it on your trainer, or find a slight downhill gradient, and we're going to do some overspeed work. This is one of my favorite sessions, and done after the gym, it just enhances your ability to increase that speed tenfold. It really was one of my favorite workouts to do this one. So what you're going to start with is a progressive 20-minute warm-up. Again, like I say, rollers are perfect for this, because what you want to do is you want to go for the lightest gear possible. You want to be able to spin those legs up as quick as possible. We're going to do 10 sets of 10 seconds sprinting in the lightest gear possible. In between each of those sprints is going to be a 2-minute recovery. Now, once you've done those 10 efforts, if you feel like that's already a workout, and it should be, then quit it, cool down, finish the session. One of these a week. These are really taxing on that central nervous system. It's firing up those pathways, allowing your central nervous system to be able to react quicker, to be able to fire quicker, and to be able to get those muscles to work more efficiently in that sprint. However, if you feel like you've not really finished that workout, what I would normally do is 10 minutes rest in between that, and then repeat that process again. Now, once we've got those legs spinning up like a V12 engine, what we need to do is apply some strength to them. Now, squats, deadlifts, leg press, leg extensions, leg curls, pretty much any leg exercise. But those main three, squat, deadlift, and leg press, were all bread and butter when it came to my sprinting regime on the track. That's literally all we did. For Zwifters, what I'd suggest is a simple 3 sets of 10 repetitions, strength endurance based workout. We're going to take one of those exercises each day and go through 3 sets of 10. So pick your squats, 3 sets of 10. Obviously, if you're a member of a gym, you're going to have access to weights and you can apply more stimulus to it. But if you're only using body weight, then the chances are, because of us being cyclists and us not really spending much time in the gym, even a bodyweight squat, a bodyweight deadlift can actually increase performance, because we're just using that muscle in a different way, and it's going to build strength. Over time, just like cycling, once you get used to this, once your body gets used to it, we're going to start to apply different stimulus. Less recovery time, more repetitions, more sets, or more weight. Think about it. Core blimey. See what I did there? Core. It's like core. By having a good core stability regime, we're not going to turn into one of these self-centered, vain, selfie-loving freaks on Instagram. All we're trying to do is develop strength and a foundation for those legs to drive off. Think of it this way. Would you rather you were trying to drive your legs off a solid base of concrete, an immovable object, i.e. your core? Or do you want to try and drive those legs off a soggy, wet paper bag? It's a good analogy, right? So start with planks, side planks, Russian twists, and floor bridges. For static exercises, i.e. the plank and side planks, hold those for up to 30 seconds and try and do that over 3 or 4 repetitions. Again, over time and progression, increase that time that you're actually holding it, or increase the amount of times that you are holding a plank, i.e. hold it for 40 seconds next time, or do 4 sets of 30 seconds. You know what I mean. In terms of those exercises with movement, you're going to do 20 repetitions each side. So 20 repetitions for Russian twists, or 20 repetitions for floor bridges. Rest, repeat 3 times. Easy, right? Final tip, let's head back to Zwift, because I want to show you the best wheel and frame combinations to increase your sprint. Now, we're only talking tenths of seconds here, and for the majority of you that'll probably not sound like a huge difference. But if we head back to the track, when we used to ride on training wheels compared to race wheels, we would go at least sometimes half a second faster. So the right wheels and the right frames are absolutely imperative when it comes to Zwifting. So check out my guide on my top 4. So first up, let's take a look at the best setup if you're under level 20, and that's the Specialized Venge with the Bontrager wheel set. The Specialized Venge and Bontrager wheel combo is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to sprinting. Over 300 meters at 1200 watts and 120 RPM, that wheel and frame combination is finishing the Italian sprint in 19.58 seconds. When you add the Zip 808 and Super 9 combo to the Venge, it goes nearly 0.2 of a second faster. Now the Venge S Works and the disc combo is the best real life road frame, finishing the sprint in 19.26 seconds. If you were lucky enough to buy the Zip 808 and Super 9 combination, then awesome! If not, what you're going to have to go for is the Envy SES 8.9, which is, I mean, it's almost as good. It's just a gnats slower. Now, quick question for you. The concept bike, is that going to go faster or slower? Now I know what you're thinking, it has to be faster, Chris. It has to be faster, Chris. Because don't tell me I spend all this time climbing mountain after mountain after mountain, climbing higher and higher and higher and higher for hours and hours and hours on end, only to find out that the concept bike, well, it's actually not as good as a bike I can just go and buy in the drop shop. Don't tell me that, Chris. Well, never fear. Let's have a look how it got on. Oops. It's slower. Again, we're only talking minute details here, but we have a road, frame and wheel combination that you can buy from that drop shop that is just as quick, if not a little bit quicker, than the concept bike. And remember, the majority of racers on Zwift finish on the flat, and that is where the Venge and disc combination come into its own. And just for comparison, just to make sure none of those hipsters are going to be beating you in the sprint, I thought I'd just check out how the Zwift steel bike gets on with the Zwift classic wheels. And thankfully it's abysmal. So there you go, 6 top tips that are going to make sure you're at the front of the group and crossing the line in first position in no time. Now, if I've left out one of your top tips when it comes to sprinting, by all means, leave a comment below and let us know your top tips. As ever, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live with our live streams, and thanks for watching.